wanted to chat quick about different kinds of bass jigs. I've been getting a lot of questions lately. We're going to talk mainly skirted jigs. If we talked all jigs, this would take a long time. I'm going to really touch on your more traditional skirted type jigs and the different variations. Now, a lot of companies have all different kinds of shapes and looks and styles, but in my opinion, there's just a handful of, I guess you could say, types of skirted jig, and from there, it goes off on all kinds of tangents. So for starters, we're just going to go with your workhorse jig, your all-purpose flipping, pitching, skipping jig, right? So this is just an AT jig from All Terrain. It's got a rattle in it. You can see it's got a little bit of a turn, a 45-degree turn. It's got the weed guard there. It's got a beefy hook. This is just a 3/8 ounce color. Not going to get into that. We're just going to talk style. 3/8 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, variations, 3/4 ounce even, heavier stuff. This is going to be a type of jig that you can pitch in and along cover. You can skip a dock. You can throw it through grass. You can swim it on a weed line. This is just going to be your workhorse type of jig. A lot of anglers turn towards this to just do just about anything. You can tip this, let's see, with a craw tail. I don't have one rigged up here. A craw tail, a creature bait, a paddle tail. That's going to be your all-purpose jig. The next big style of skirted jig is going to be your swim jig, and this comes in all different looks and sizes and shapes, just like we talked about to kick this video off. This is going to be just your finesse swim jig from All Terrain. You're going to have a standard swim jig. It's got a little bit of a flatter profile. The concept behind a swim jig is just that. You're going to pitch it, you're going to swim it, you're going to work it back to the boat. Works great through reeds, pencil reeds. It works great through some lily pad cover. Works great through grass. Works good over rock, shallow structure. Another very versatile presentation is your swim jig. And I have actually a basic swim jig from All Terrain tied up right here. And you can see I got a Ki-Tech paddle tail on the back of that. This is just a good profile. Pitch it, work it back to the boat, cover a lot of water. Very effective for largemouth bass, smallmouth bass. So swim jig is going to be another category of jig, skirted jig, that works exceptionally well for catching fish. You can see both the variations I showed you, the one on the rod, and this guy here is going to have that wire weed guard. So again, really nice. You can throw it through cover. I've done exceptionally well fishing this through, call it the jungle. Now, I'm not going to throw this through the heaviest milfoil, but I'm going to throw it through pencil reeds, lily pad stems, wood, some rock, a number of things. You get the idea on the swim jig. The next category is going to be a pitching or a punching, a flipping, true flipping jig, or a grass jig. This happens to be the Grassmaster from All Terrain. This one's a heavier one. You can see big weight, straight tie-eye, right? So now that's going to punch right through that heavy cover. Now this is the jig I'm going to use, punching and flipping through milfoil, heavy lily pad fields, really getting down and dirty. I got a pocket craw on the back of that. Works exceptionally well to flip, punch through the milfoil, punch through the canopy of weeds, into the grass, into the heavy stuff, into the bog, whatever it might be, and pull them fish out. So that's going to come in a lot of different styles and types. You're going to have everything from heavier 1.5 ounce stuff like this to half ounce, to you name it. Obviously the weight depends on what you're really trying to punch through, but you can notice right away from that first jig I showed you, the tie-eye, if we compare them, that's straight up, right? So this is 45, this is straight up and down. This is going to have a little more versatility. This is going to punch through the heavy stuff. And last but not least, probably in my categories of skirted jigs, is going to be a rock jig or a football jig, football head. You can see this is actually the football jig from All Terrain. That's going to have a lot wider head shape for dragging along rock, gravel. You can feel a lot of things. This is a very versatile bait for deep water, deep rock, deep gravel. I'm probably not going to punch this through heavy grass. I'm not skipping this a ton. I'm fishing this usually on offshore structure. I'm dragging that along the bottom with a creature bait to try to figure out where that hard bottom is, because a lot of times, especially in the summer months when the water gets a lot warmer, these fish will move out deeper, and I'll be targeting largemouth bass, smallmouth bass with rock jigs or football jigs. And this does come obviously in a non-skirted variation. So we talked skirted, but you can buy just a standard rock jig, put your favorite creature bait in the back, and fish it in a very similar manner. So those are the four main skirted jigs that I lean on. You have your all-purpose, like rattling AT jig, 45-degree angle, skipping docks, just kind of do everything. Just go fishing. You're going to have your swim jig variation. You're going to have your punching or your flipping jig, like a Grassmaster. And then you're going to have your offshore football head jig, like the football or the rock jig. So those are the four variations. Tons of options if you walk into a retail store on each of those, but that at least gives you an idea of the four types of skirted jigs that you're going to find in my boat to catch largemouth and smallmouth bass during the open water season.